Good morning, afternoon, everybody. My name is Dimitris Spentzas. I'm the CTO of Ambient Services. Ambient Services is a services company that tries to mix in the best way two things, people and technology. So we are heavily involved in low-code automation, but we also have a big development team that are looking into SQL development. So what I'm about to show you, it happens right within the company. Yeah. So the business and IT in today's world, we have a lot of challenges. Every single business, of course, has budget constraints. We need to do things faster and with less resources. We need to keep, the business happy. Business expectations are very high. So on the other hand, within IT, we are struggling in one way or another to meet the expectations of the business, for them to understand us as well, and us to understand them. We have to maintain a lot of legacy systems. Not a lot of companies have invested in new software, new hardware. So we do a lot of support rather than a lot of development. And people have started doing a few things on their own because IT never has the time to do everything. So that creates a shadow IT, which is very hard to monitor. Now, on the other hand, and everybody is aware, demand from everywhere is surging. We see here some metrics. The middle one is very important. As we are here in DevOps. There is, of course, a developer shortfall. By 2025, they expect that globally we have a 4 million developer shortage, which is huge. The need for new applications is constantly growing. And these are metrics that are coming from different sources like Gartner, like IDC, like Microsoft. In the next 5 years, they expect 750 million apps to be created, which is more than what has been created in the last 40 years. And of course, and everybody is aware of that, most of the companies, the number is huge, 86%, they're struggling to hire tech talent and to find people. Now, all this, of course, has given rise to the low-code platforms. Platforms that we can do some sort of development quicker in a more visual way rather than the hardcore development, which leads into accelerating the digital transformation. Also, although digital transformation, and I think most of us know that we shouldn't be talking about digital transformation. The company should transform in a digital way using the digital tools. Yeah? Putting a tool in place doesn't make you digitally transformed in some way. So they need to transform. They need to transform their processes, their legacy ways of working. And that has given rise to the low-code platforms, to UiPath, Blue Prism, Microsoft Power Automate, Softomotive as it was before, which in some way help to reduce the IT backlog. IT currently cannot cope with the demand that's coming from the business. Other reasons that low-code platforms have grown up hugely in the last few years is that we're depending to less staff, less technical proficient staff to do things. Users can do some part, as they call them, citizen developers, to do some part in order to cater for some needs that they have. And in a way, which is not a proper modernization of legacy systems, but because they're not actually modernized, but to put a layer on top of the legacy systems in order to be able to do more work. Now, if we look at some of the statistics coming from Gartner, you will see that and these are not metrics in the future, the metrics from now, last year to this year, they expect almost 20% rise of the use of these low-code development platforms. And we're talking about a market that will reach almost 30 billion. It's a huge market. Yeah. What the researchers have seen is that in some way the no-code or low-code platforms have sped up some sort of application development by almost 90%. And what they expect, and this is also a very, very important number, they expect by 2025 that 70% of all new applications will employ low-code or no-code technology. And finally, by 2027, we're talking the market to be at nearly 40 billion. It's a huge market. Now, of course, there are a lot of pros and cons for using these tools, these platforms, and we'll see some of them. Yes, you can produce something that will cover the need of the user in shorter release cycles. But on the other hand, these platforms, of course, have limited flexibility. You can only do specific stuff. And then, if you want to do something more custom, then of course you need custom development for these parts. Now, it does increase the productivity generally in the company, as they have some pre-built elements that they can be used and they can be reused in order to do the work required. But on the other hand, not all platforms, or most of the platforms, do not have some built-in security protocols. But when we're talking about heavily regulated markets that need specific requirements, these are not developed already in the tool. So you have to do something yourself. Now, yes, it can save you costs because you save time and resources because you'll do some stuff easier. So compared to the traditional practices, it is less costly. But on the other hand, you do get locked into the platform that you use. And there are very, very few tools that you can change back and forth between Blue Prism and Power Automate and UiPath. But usually when you start using a platform, you mostly stay with that platform. Now, you can deploy a full stack solution within weeks rather than months or year. Sometimes it can take even days to create something. And the way they use the data, they're ideal for cloud platforms. But on the other hand, as I said before, it does create some sort of shadow IT. There's some applications there that use data that we in IT, we're not aware. So that creates a problem. Now, going to the next slide, I'm pretty sure some of you would resonate with the one slide and some of you would resonate with the other slide. Let's see how either side of the fence, either the pro coders or the low coders, look at the platform. So maybe you'll see some things, and some of these things are your own thoughts. Low code is not really development, is it? Yes, you produce something in a visual way, but they're not actually full-on programming languages that you can do everything. You can do only so much. People that use a Procoder will say that people who use a low-code tool, they do not have the principles that they have, the structure that they have, the architecture that they have, the way they think and they write code. And some of the times, they have to actually sort out the mess when the low-coders reach at the limit of the knowledge. Yeah? On the other hand, at the low-coders' view, they say that I can do things faster than you can do. I can produce something that the business needs. I'm closer to the business. I can produce something faster, cheaper, of course, And rather than looking at black screens with green letters, I produce something in a visual way, which is more pleasing to me, and I can use my creativity. And at the end of the day, I can give my code or my file to somebody else, and they can read it and they can continue it. While it's a lot more difficult to get a code that has been written decades ago and try to understand what it does and try to change it or reproduce it. Now, of course, that leads us into a war. We have the dinosaurs, and we have the newer generation, the unicorns. I mean, for us, and it's at Abins, it's something that it's not applicable because we know that both worlds can coincide. Now, for us, the future is hybrid. You can use the low-code tools to create something that has to do with repeatable and mundane tasks and something that can be reusable. And you can use the pro coders to write proper code when you need to connect things, when you need things to have more security, to be more architecturally sound. So we can combine, and it's something that we do, combine the low-code platforms with pro code extensions. And the pro code help us deal with tasks that have to do with complex logic, with, as I said, with architecture, with connection to APIs. And very importantly, as I said before, we use traditional programming for architecture, for making things sound, for security, and for things that require proper intelligence. Now, so in our view, the two worlds do actually very well connect with each other, and it's a win-win situation for both parties. For the pro coders, when the low-code software has taken care of the repeatable and the standard, they have more time to be created into writing the proper code. And it's easier in some ways to fix low code rather than code that has been created in some ways and for legacy systems a long time ago. On the other hand, for the unicorns, for the low coders, not everything can be solved with low code. The platforms at the moment are limited. So unless they learn to code and script, the pro code is there to help them build something that is custom enough for its customer or for its business. Now, adding on to that, it's very important that the pro coders who wrote those systems, those legacy applications, they actually know the reason why these were created. They know the ins and outs. They know all the intricacies. They know what has changed over the coming years. So they can be a very, very valuable resource in the day-to-day business. So, and they have the wisdom that the newer people or low coders do not yet have. Closing in, us at Abins, we, as I said before, we have worked quite well the mixing of both worlds. We have done a lot of developments in the last year, with working with robotic process automation technology and with Power Apps. We have done that in a lot of vertically in every single department that the company has. Very importantly, this combination has helped us save using the best of both worlds, low code and the pro coders to connect things. We have saved over 30,000 man days from people who traditionally would have hard coded. As I said before, maybe I didn't say it before, but we at the moment we use the Microsoft platform to do our low-code implementation. So as a closing statement, for me, both worlds are important. Both worlds can work together very nicely, and there are benefits for both pro coders and low or no coders working together with each other. Thank you very much. Thank you. Any questions? Something from the audience? Yes?
Hi, thanks for your talk. Have you noticed any trend for citizen developers without technical skills after using the low-code platform to move to a more technical position?
It actually depends on the needs. We have seen that. We have seen people, mainly from finance, because they understand complex operations, they understand the mathematical operations that make things work. So these are the people who actually have started using the platform themselves, they have started developing something themselves, but they reach the limit and they say, what can I do? How can I create my backend being better rather than have a two-dimensional table with the data? What can I do better? If I learn SQL, will that help me create custom statements that I can go and pick up and work on my code? So we have seen not very much. I mean, from all the developers that we have seen so far, not very much. Some of the developers coming from some work with low coders coming from finance have started coming up. Yeah. Thank you.
Which low-code platform or platforms are you using in your company?
Well, we currently use the Microsoft Power Automate platform because we do developments for all the platforms like Power Apps, Power Automate, Power BI, and this started. We use that as a, let's say, as a development from Softomotive, because we started writing in 2019 using the Softomotive tool and the Softomotive platform, and when it was bought by Microsoft and it became Power Automate, we continued moved to Power Automate. So at the moment we use the Power Platform for as our low-code platform at the moment. That's what we do. We use usually the front end at low code, which is faster, and we build extensions, pro code extensions that they can be reused, repeatable, and we can use them in the main application as well. Yeah.
You integrate with source version control systems. This code that you produce with the low code. Do you manage it in such a repository and do you have versioning?
We do have again versioning, but we are looking at the moment for a platform that we can move to a proper, versioning platform. We do keep our versioning, let's say, in a more manual way at the moment, but we are moving there. Yeah.
So the low-code platform produces files, HTML. What it produces? It's relative to the repository.
The low code, depending on what you write, the Power Automate flow, it's a flow, it's a step, it's visually it's steps that do things. Like if I want to, let's say, open, if I want to, to do a crawl into a website that has many entries, I want to do a search and bring up every single result and go into every single result and get the details back, I will create visually a control that says open Chrome, go into that platform. So, but when we need to do calculations behind, then we create extensions either in SQL database, and we call them from the main flow. Similarly to if we want to create a power up, we have created a power up for a health product company. That all the visual way of representing the data was in the low code, was a power up. But behind the scenes, that when you needed to do calculations with budgets and targets and everything, that was created as an extension in ProCode. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your time.